If you're a UK business owner thinking of moving to Qatar, setting up a business here, obtaining residency for yourself and your family out here, running your businesses from Qatar, then this is the video for you. I'll be talking you through the exact steps required to set up your company, to get your residency, to get your family across, the same plan and blueprint that took me and my family from the UK to Qatar and now living out here as a business owner. So if you want to know the exact plan and have a blueprint to follow, then stay until the end and I'll walk you through the exact steps. So let's get straight into it. So before we get stuck into the how, let's talk about why Qatar. Why Qatar of all places? Because usually when you hear of people moving abroad, UK business owners making the move, it's usually to Dubai. Now, Dubai is someplace I know pretty well. We help business owners move from the UK to Dubai. I have seen Dubai since 1994, so I've seen it develop from desert to the metropolis that it is today. The reason I personally chose Qatar was because I wanted a quieter pace of life. Dubai is great if you're in your 20s, your 30s, you need to be in that hustle and bustle, a bit like London with sunshine. For me, Qatar was a nice halfway house where you still had all the mod cons, the conveniences, the quality of life, the safety that living in the Middle East offers, but without the frenetic, crazy hustle and bustle of Dubai. So primarily for me, it was quality of life. It was the safety, particularly with older kids now, the independence they can have compared to the UK, so you don't worry so much as parents, whereas in the UK, as soon as it's dark, you can't really let your kids out of the house. So in that sense, Qatar offered the safety, the quality of life, and of course the year-round sunshine, although some months can be pretty hot. But on the whole, the lifestyle was the main reason for our personal move over here. And also the fact that it's 0% personal income tax also helps. Right, so onto the process now. How do you get a business set up in Qatar in order to be able to live here? So the good news is that it's a lot less simpler than Dubai. If you're familiar with Dubai, you've been looking into potentially moving to Dubai, you'll know there is a plethora of options when it comes to setting up business in Dubai. There are dozens of free zones, there's mainland, and there are so many agents now marketing Dubai as a destination for entrepreneurs, for founders, for people to set up their business over there, including ourselves. The reason for that is that Dubai's free zones are a lot more mature, a lot more developed than Qatar, because they started offering free zones, i.e. the ability for a foreigner, for someone outside of the country to have 100% ownership of a business there. Dubai started doing it in the early 2000s. Qatar was a bit late to the party and it's still a fairly closed market compared to Dubai, but there are options now for you to have 100% ownership of a company here in Qatar. So on that front, it's simpler because Qatar only really has, at the time of recording, 2 authorities that give you a license to set up your own company with 100% ownership. One is the QFC, the Qatar Financial Center, and the other is the QFZ, Qatar Free Zone. So you've got the QFC and you've got the QFZ, essentially, which is a lot more simpler to get your head around compared to Dubai's multiple free zones and mainland and all the other options that they offer to entice you to come and set up business in Dubai. However, the fact that it's simple to understand in terms of the high-level landscape, the actual process is a bit more involved, a bit more complicated compared to Dubai, purely because it is less established, you could say, and fewer people are familiar with the process because there are just fewer numbers, fewer opportunities really for people to set up here. But the government is now encouraging more and more entrepreneurs, founders, particularly startups, through things like the Web Summit, to come here, to establish their business here, to make the most of the business incubators and the other opportunities that founders and entrepreneurs have to set up business in Qatar, to pursue their operations from here, to get investment and capital from here to be able to then develop whatever product, or fintech in particular, that you might be pursuing. So now we know there is the potential of getting 100% ownership. How do we go about doing it? Well, rewind slightly. Just to recap, in order to be able to live in Qatar, you need to be able to have a residence permit. Same as Dubai, you need to have a residence permit to live in Qatar. Now, usually the way people get residence permits is to have a job. If you are an expat, a British expat, and you want to come and live in Qatar, you apply to work in Qatar for a company and they will then sponsor you. They will be your sponsor. They will then apply for the residence permit on your behalf, and through that residence permit you are now able to live here in Qatar. That is the usual route that you hear most people, and what you'll see on the internet in terms of information out there of expats coming to Doha, Qatar and living here. The other route of being able to live here via your company is a lot less explored. It's a lot less information on the internet out there, and hence hopefully this video will be helpful to you if that is the route you are considering. You are a business owner, you have no intention of going back into the world of employment. You want to know how you can relocate yourself, your business to Qatar, just like I have done, in order to avail of the benefits, the quality of life, the convenience, the tax, etc., the weather of living in Qatar, but as a business owner where you are in full control of the operations. So the first step is we need to pick which entity we are going to go with, which registration entity, i.e. the QFC or the QFZ, you're going to register your company with. Now it depends on the type of business that you are doing. If you're going to be doing any mainland business, import, export, that sort of thing, you might want to consider the QFZ. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be using the QFC because that's the process that I went down. I established my company with the QFC. That's where I got my license. Think of the QFC like your company's house. That's where the registration takes place. There you get a company registration number, and that is the company that you can then use in order to trade from Qatar. So the first step really is to establish your company. Now the QFC website is very helpful. They have a portal. If you go to the QFC's website, there is the opportunity there for you to apply to set up a company. Now normally the costs of doing so are in the region of around $5,000 setup and then $5,000 a year for the license. However, now here is a particular hack for you and a potential way of you getting this set up completely for free, as well as a few years license for free as well. And that is as follows, which is the way that I went down. If you go to the Web Summit, now the Web Summit is a conference that takes place usually in February every year in Doha. You may have the opportunity to register a company completely free of charge and have a free license up until 2028, which is the current limit for the incentive that they are offering for people to set up their business at the QFC and avail of the 0% corporate tax until 2028. In order to avail of this though, you actually have to be present in person at the Web Summit in order to take advantage of this offer. So look out for that. If that is still available by the time you watch this video, it's worth coming along to that event, because that is when they hold the incentives. And as you'll see, I'll show you some B-roll, which you should be seeing right about now, about the venue, the event. It's a decent event worth attending anyway, and if you're thinking of setting up business, definitely time your visit in line with when the Web Summit is happening. You do need to buy a ticket in order to attend. So that is the first step in the process. Apply for your company. Once you have got a company established, now essentially you can apply for a visa for yourself. And again, the QFC portal is how you would do that. You apply for the working visa. Once that comes through, you have to enter the country using your working visa, and then you can apply for your residence permit. That residence permit is what will then allow you to live and work in Doha, Qatar as a resident of the country. Once you apply for that and that is successful, you will get the QID, the national ID card that is required for every resident here in Qatar, and that enables you to then live, to get a phone contract, to get a tenancy. Basically anything that you want to do in the country requires you to have your QID, otherwise you pretty much can't do anything. So that is the process. In effect, it is pretty much a two-stage process. You've got the company set up. Once you've got the company set up, it then allows you to apply for a visa for yourself off the back of you having 100% shares in a QFC registered company. As the director of that company, you now are eligible to apply for the residence permit in order to now achieve residency here in Qatar. In terms of the timeline of the process, I came for the Web Summit, so the whole process to set up a company was fairly quick. Only took a couple of days to set up the company. If you went online, it will probably be around the same time frame. Then the visa takes another few days. You then have to exit the country and come back in on your working visa in order to apply for the residence permit, do the medical checks and things like that. That whole process takes about 10 to 14 working days. So all in all, you could time a visit within a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Everything could be sorted, providing you know what you're doing, you're following the steps, and you have everything that you need in order to successfully register at each step of the process. Now, although it sounds simple, obviously there was a lot more to it. There was a lot of paperwork, there was a lot of signing off things, there was a lot of bureaucracy, unfortunately, in terms of how things are done here. But if you would like to know more, I have literally put the whole process into a document which you can download by following the links below. I've been as thorough as possible. I've also added a list of FAQs as well about living and working here in Doha as a business owner. So if that is useful to you, then download the guide. I've put a link to it in the description below. And then if you would like a personal consultation for your specific circumstances to get advice on how it could be possible for you, then there should be a link for you to be able to do that as well. So once you've got your residency sorted, now you can sponsor your family. So if you have a spouse, kids, etc., you can now be their sponsor. So you have your residency off the back of setting up your own company, 100% ownership. Now that you have your residence permit, your QID, you can now sponsor your family. Now again, everything is done through an app here called Metrash. Once you have residency, you will be able to have this Metrash app which records your residency, your visa, everything that you need to do in Qatar is basically based on this app. So once you have your residency, you can then apply for your family. Now, if you've registered your company at the QFC can act as your PRO, essentially your conduit, and assist you in that process. So you would then apply for your spouse visa, your family, your kids visa, and the whole process goes through the same QFC portal that you use to set up the company. Again, they would have to do a similar thing, go to do the medical, do the fingerprinting, and follow the same process pretty much that you did to set up the company. Now, worth bearing in mind that you need to be able to show a level of salary in order to be able to sponsor your family of at least 30,000 riyals a month through a salary certificate that you generate as the director of your company. So I hope that's been helpful in giving you a whistle-stop tour of the possibility of setting up a business and therefore giving you the opportunity to move to and live in this country of Qatar, in Doha, the main city essentially where everything happens. It's pretty much Doha is Qatar and Qatar is Doha. But I have no regrets about coming. I always say to others that if you never do it, you'll never know. So it's worth coming and giving it a try. But so far, so good. No complaints apart from the weather in the summer months. But apart from that, it is a lovely, hospitable, welcoming country. I'm glad to be here, and hopefully this has been food for thought for you. So there you have it, the full plan, blueprint of what it takes to set up a company out here, to get your residency out here and move across here to avail of the many benefits that this country has to offer. If you've enjoyed this video, then give it a like, subscribe to the channel. But if you want more information, if you want a consultation in your specific circumstances, and there should be a link in the description below for you to book a consultation to get more information on how we can help you to make the move out here. Take care and bye for now.